Well, welcome to Changemakers, the podcast that explores the transformative world of organizational development. I'm Professor Dr. Obi Paul Byram, and in today's episode, we're diving into a critical aspect of managing change, diagnosing organizational issues. Well, before we get into the theory, let me share a story with you. Imagine you're the coach of a basketball team. Your team has been performing well all season, but suddenly you notice a dip in performance. Your star players aren't hitting their shots, the defense is sloppy, and there's a noticeable tension among the players. As the coach, your instinct might be to push them harder in practice. But what if the issue isn't just physical? What if it's something deeper, like a breakdown in communication or misalignment in team goals? This is where diagnosis comes in. Just as a coach needs to diagnose the root cause of a team slump, leaders in organizations need to diagnose the underlying issues that affect performance. In Chapter 5, we explore the concept of diagnosis in organizational development. Just like our basketball team, organizations need to understand their internal dynamics and address issues effectively. Diagnosis is the process of understanding how different parts of an organization, its structure, culture, processes, and people, how they interact and impact overall performance. It's about identifying the symptoms, understanding the root causes, and aligning all these components to achieve the organization's goals. Segment 2, the open systems model. One of the most useful tools in organizational diagnosis is the open systems model. Think of your organization as a system that interacts with its environment. Inputs like resources, information, and people flow into the system, which processes these inputs to produce outputs. Products, services, and outcomes. The open systems model helps us see how these elements fit together and how change in one part of the system can impact the whole organization. It's like understanding how each player on the basketball team contributes to the overall game strategy. Now, diagnosis doesn't happen in isolation. It occurs in different levels: organizational, group, and individual. Each level requires a different approach, just as you'd coach a team differently that you'd coach an individual player. At the organizational level, diagnosis might focus on the company's strategy and structure. Are these aligned with the external environment and internal capabilities? At the group level, you might look at how teams are functioning. Are they communicating effectively? And at the individual level, diagnosis could involve understanding employees' motivations and how they align with the organization's goals. Alignment is critical in ensuring that all parts of the organization are working together towards a common goal. If there's a misalignment, like a team that's not communicating well, or a strategy that doesn't match the market, performance suffers. Just like our basketball team, if the players aren't aligned in the understanding of the game plan, they won't perform well, no matter how skilled they are individually. Let's take a real-world example. Steinway & Sons, the legendary piano manufacturer. Steinway has been a leader in its field for over a century. But like any organization, it's had to diagnose and address issues to stay on top. By applying diagnostic models, Steinway identified areas where they needed better alignment between their production processes, innovation strategies, and market demands. Through careful diagnosis and alignment, they've maintained their position as a market leader while continuing to innovate. Wow. As you think about your future roles, consider how you might diagnose issues in an organization. What tools will you use? How will you ensure alignment between different parts of the organization? Diagnosing organizational issues is the first step towards effective change. By understanding the system and aligning its parts, you can lead your organization to success. Well, thank you for joining me today on Changemakers. In our next episode, we'll explore strategies for managing organizational change. This episode of Changemakers was created with the assistance of ChatGPT, a language model developed by OpenAI. Special thanks to East Tennessee State University and the College of Business and Technology for providing the platform and the resources to make this podcast possible. Additional thanks to our textbook, Organizational Development and Change by Thomas Cummings and Christopher Worley, 11th edition, published by Cengage, which serves as the foundation for much of our course content. Music and sound effects for this episode are provided by Audio Coffee. Well, we thank you for listening. Until next time, keep making change.